Hey everyone, it's Kate from passionbykate.com, and today I want to talk to you about feeling sexy and what it means to be sexy. So, in the last 6 months or so, I have attended both an S Factor class and Mama Gina's The Experience. And before I get into any critiques, I want to be really clear. I am so deeply, genuinely grateful that these women and their work exists. They have helped thousands of women over the years, maybe more, and to get in touch with themselves, to find freedom and pleasure, and to really connect sensually. And for that, I am so grateful. But while that is true, I also want more of them, because here was my experience. My experience was that their work, in some ways, really is another way of telling me how to be sexy. And that's problematic for two reasons. For one, it felt like how they defined sexy was really for the male gaze. Even though they were telling me it was for me, it was so in alignment with how society defined sexy that I struggled. And this, I'm going to own that this could be something that just hit a point for me, right? But I was like, why am I subscribing to this idea of sexy as something, as the way society views it, as being performative for the male gaze? So that was one thing. The problem is that I don't feel sexiest when I am adhering to their movements, to their definitions of sexy. In fact, I feel sexiest not in lingerie. Lingerie is like too fucking complicated for me personally. Again, if you love it, I am not criticizing that at all. Okay, so I want to be really clear about that. But for me, fancy lacy stuff, I'm like, nah. Yeah, I have no time for it. I'm someone who tends to accidentally, anytime I have lace, not because I'm extra rough with it, I end up ripping it, and then I'm like, great, I just spent all this money on this nice fancy lace stuff, and now I just pulling it up and down, ugh. So for me, I feel sexiest in a cami and some underwear that fit me really well, or just my sports bra and some leggings. So I left with this sense of, I don't feel sexy from doing these things, so what's wrong with me? And this is something that so much sex ed and pleasure work, a trap that it falls into, is if you don't do it this way, then you're not doing it right. And sometimes it's overt, right? You have these headlines that are guaranteed way, to climax, to make your man wild. And sometimes it's more subtle, as in these cases. So it's had me thinking a lot about, what does sexy even mean when we take it out of a cultural context? And for me, what sexy is about is feeling confident in yourself. And if your way to feeling sexy is through something like S Factor or through something like Mama Gina's work, then that is totally wonderful and awesome and fantastic. Okay, again, I want to really drive home this point that this is not just a baseless criticism or critique or rant. But if it's not, that's totally okay too. If you feel sexiest doing something that is not traditionally, based on society's definition, sexy, that's okay. And it's taken me, I've had this on my mind actually for quite some time, and I've been, hemming and hawing of how to bring it forward into the world, because again, freedom and pleasure is all about what's right for you. So last week, I posted my article, Your Sex Life, Your Way, in collaboration with Continuum Collective. And that's really what it's all about. It's what makes you satisfied, what makes you feel pleasure, what makes you feel sexy. Maybe it's something more traditional, like lacy lingerie, like sensual movement, gyrating hips, red lips, right? Again, fantastic. Or maybe it's feeling really hot when you're lounging around in what's traditionally PJs or workout gear. Or maybe it's going out and, doing things that are seen typically as more masculine, and that's when you feel the sexiest. All of it is wonderful. All of it is okay. You get to define what sexy means to you and how it shows up for you. You don't have to fall into anyone else's definition of it at all. I'm here to give you permission to feel sexy and define sexy for yourself, just like I'm here to give you permission, not that you need it by the way, but sometimes it's helpful to have, to create a sex life that satisfies you and your partner alone, right? And you don't have to satisfy anyone else's criteria for a good sex life, for how many times to have sex per week, how to have sex, how often to change things up. Freedom and pleasure is about literally you doing you, boo. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe to the channel below. And if you want more messages like this about finding freedom and pleasure, please subscribe to my newsletter, Passion by Kate. That's KAIT.com.